2025, as well as October 28th, 2025.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
Save on your bill? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, and more only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Talk That Get Results. I'm Webbo Herbert, and as per usual, we are here every Tuesday evening with, at least we think, something is of community interest and or of some concern. And if you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line? Address it to the Let's Talk program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195, Charlestown in Nevis. Or give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. You have a question or a comment, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that you're well organized, and when you're getting on the show, you take as little time as possible so that we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, to respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem that's not within our broadcast standards. But we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Thank you all again for joining us. This is your voice in the community, Talk That Get Results. By the way, you can also follow our live video stream of this program on our YouTube channel at Vaughan Radio. Click subscribe on our Facebook channel on click Vaughan Radio as well. Now, tonight we have two segments of the program. The first segment, you don't have to be sick to get this information. On the other hand, you get this information and perhaps, just perhaps, it may cause you not getting sick. Some health matters we have to take care of, right? So call your friends if you think that they might have been missing us this evening. And all health, the second segment as well, we'll be talking health matters as well, different sort of health matters. This evening, Mr. Charles McWilliams, it's good to have you. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Why don't you tell us what organization you're attached to, what you do, and all that. And having done that, you have some of your folks with you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you have Akeisha, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you have Chris, right?
Chris is here.
Okay, so having spoken to you, let us know who you are, what you do, and then we'll speak with Akeisha and Chris. So, good evening. Is your first time being here?
No, it's not my first time.
Okay, good. So
My third time.
your third time.
Yes.
Okay. Looking forward to your fourth and fifth and sixth and so on. Okay, so it's good to have you. So why don't you go ahead?
Well, I'm Dr. Charles McWilliams, and I'm a naturopathic physician, and I've been here on Nevis for 35 years and have a clinic up in Newcastle. And in addition, I'm with the Sacred Medical Order of the Knights of Hope, which I have been with this particular organization for 25 years. And as a result of that, I get to travel around the world, meet very interesting people, and in addition, learn new things from other doctors in other portions of the world and bring that back to Nevis and benefit my patients with it.
Okay, now, naturopathic physician, not all in the audience, including myself, can say what specific part of the health aspect that is. So why don't you let us know?
Well, it's called naturopathy, but we firmly believe that it's actually monastic medicine, which was, of course, practiced in Europe for many centuries. And as the monasteries closed, certain physicians went into the field outside of the church and started practicing in the countryside. And they continued this practice, what we call today natural medicine. Of course, back then that's really all they had anyway. And that morphed in by a transplantation from the settlers from Europe that were coming to the United States, and of course the Caribbean as well, and South America. They brought monastic medicine with them, and ultimately it was branded in early 1900 as naturopathy, which we've kind of had to live with, but we say all along basically we're monastic physicians and believe very much in the tenets of the Bible and the natural ways and means of letting people heal. So that's where we are today with naturopathy, as it's called.
So that's what I was looking for, the natural medicine.
Yes.
Right.
Also called nature cure.
You've been doing that for, you said, 35 plus years?
Yes, basically all my life, since I got out of high school.
Okay. Let's go to Akeisha and tell us a little bit about you, Akeisha, and what you do, and then Chris, and then we will get into the full discussion, because I'm getting interested and intrigued already in this, in this area of health. So I'm eager to get into the full discussion, hear what you have to offer. So Akeisha, good evening. Thanks for being here.
Good evening. I am a medical student and a clinic assistant. I started off as one of his patients with acne. My face looked really, really, really bad. And he gave me some teas to drink about 2 to 3 times a day. Then I went home, I started drinking them and noticing that my face is clearing up. That is after 2 to 3 weeks or so. So then I got excited and I started to do my own research. And I realized that this is something that I want to work on, going towards this is one of my goals that I want to achieve in life. I want to be able to do things that are not causing my body harm, and understanding the herbal value of certain things when it's entered into the body. I am also a farmer. I have a smoothie business. It's KL Blends, and I'm happy to be here.
And Chris, good evening. It's good to have you.
Good evening. Thank you. Well, as I said, my name is Christopher Broadbelt, and I am a medical student and a clinical assistant at Jade Medical Clinic, working closely with Dr. Charles and Akeisha. I specialize in conducting live blood analysis at the clinic, which allows us to see what's really happening in the blood at a cellular level. It's an incredible tool that helps us identify micro parasites in an early stage. I first started with Jade from actually going out there to sell one of my products. I do natural supplements, and I met Dr. Charles through Sylvia, and they invited me to come one Saturday to, just see what it's all about, because I had no idea that this kind of clinic existed on Nevis. It was something that I was always into. I never really trusted, quote unquote, the doctors and the prescription drugs and all of that, so I normally steered away from that and more to the natural aspect of healing. And then a Saturday I came there, I met Dr. Charles, and the rest is history. He showed me the process, he showed me everything that they're doing, what they want to accomplish at the clinic, all the natural herbs that they use to heal people, and then I was like, I want to learn everything. I was like a little kid in a playground, basically.
Yeah, okay. Akeisha, why don't you give us a little more from you into how you got involved in it as well, and what you do, and whether or not you think that you like to go further into it. Because we've heard Dr. McWilliams, he's done 35 years. You're not even close to 35 of life as yet. But how interesting it is to you, to see whether or not you can, maybe when I have an ailment, call you and you take care of it.
I am very much interested to, quote unquote, carry on the legacy. I have learned so much. I've only been there for 2 years, but as I mentioned earlier, I was a patient, I got healed, and I also work under the microscopy to check certain things in the blood, any irregularities of the bloodstream. Dr. Charles McWilliams, he has so much up his sleeve. It's a lot to learn, but the exciting part of it is that you're putting yourself in a healthy condition once you follow what he has taught you. And many of us are in a sub-health condition, a sub-health stage in our life. And I want to be able to treat, heal, maybe cure certain illnesses and get patients back to their nutritional status in which they was when they were younger. Because many of us break that by bad eating habits, stress levels, and the list goes on and on and on. So I am dedicated, I am disciplined to take up the mantle.
Very good. The stress levels, you hear people talking about that. Almost sometimes people use it even loosely, in my opinion. But stress really can make you sick, correct?
Yes. Very easily makes people sick.
And how is that so? Because stress is a thing that you wouldn't see as like if you get a sprained ankle and you see a swelling and stuff like that. It is to do with the brain, right?
Yes.
And the mind, if you will. So tell us a little bit about that, how it affects people, and how you can treat it.
Well, I think quite simply, just take sleeplessness, insomnia, for example. The outcome of stress in our daily lives typically leads to poor, irregular sleep patterns. And when you don't get restful sleep, you don't produce growth hormone, which is a repair hormone in the body. Your body doesn't fully relax. Certain healing factors like melatonin and other hormones that are in the body become unset, so to speak, and imbalance. And day after day, as that drives on, that puts stress on your muscles. Your shoulders get tight. You start to get mild to severe headaches. Your blood pressure goes up. All these factors start accumulating just from what we call stress. But basically the outcome is the nervous strain that's imparted to the body disrupts the glandular system, it disrupts the circulation, and it disrupts the digestion. And that creates another state where you start to literally auto-intoxicate. You become constipated, your bowels don't move regularly, your desire for thirst is not as abundant as it should be, so you don't drink regular amounts of water, your body doesn't detoxify. It's a complete cascade of problems just from stress alone.
And I would imagine that the origin of stress has different, how should I put it? You can get stress from different things.
Yes, it can be self-generated or it can be societally imposed. So it can be internal or external or a combination of both.
Give us an example. A person, you had mentioned a little earlier that one of the issues a person can have is not enough sleep or not being able to sleep as well as they should.
Mm-hmm.
So give us either hypothetical or a real situation that can happen or may have happened.
Well, we could just take a normally healthy young adult who finds himself with a new child, puts an economic strain on the household. Child has behavior problems perhaps, or there's difficulty with the marriage with this new person in the household, and that starts a level of stress. It's both internal and external because of combined economic factors that come into play and all the normal things of daily life in today's very complicated world. We can basically stay, with any patient that walks in the door, it's basically stress until proven otherwise. We don't find very many people that are completely calm and relaxed unless, of course, they're fully retired from life and they're just enjoying themselves, and they have been relieved of all of that. But as a result of that too, because of the age, the stress factors were probably there. They probably have some residual hypertension, some diabetes, they've gained weight, all sorts of things come into play.
So it's fair to say that everybody has some level or degree of stress?
Yes, in today's world I don't think it's escapable.
Mm-hmm.
And we could even add stress in a new specter of life that has not been with man or nature, and that's microwave radiation coming off Wi-Fi and cell phones. That is a level of stress that nobody can avoid these days.
We use the term level of stress. How do we know, A, what level of stress a person may have, and B, how do we know when it is higher a good enough description? How will we know when a person's stress level is too high and it needs attention?
Well, there's simple measures. One is the blood pressure. That's very obvious. The blood pressure starts to raise. Another simple thing is, can you bend over and touch your own toes? Because when a person goes into a state of chronic stress, they get a condition called bracing. Their back muscles become rigid, they become tight, their shoulders become stiff, they start to get neck aches, they feel not so well themselves, and this travels all the way down the back, through the paraspinal muscles from the spine and down the back of the legs. So you could simply ask someone to bend over if they can't touch their toes. They're under some form of stress.
Oh, really? You mean bend over and touch your toes without bending your knees?
Without bending your knees.
Oh, okay, because, you know, I was going to get pretty smart with you. And
That's an old test in psychology called bracing. Just, how many inches from the floor can you reach before you start getting tension and pain in your back or the back of your leg?
Oh, really? Let's see.
So, if it's 5 inches or more, then that's stress has become acute.
Would you believe I was able to do it?
I do believe that. You look very well.
Oh, well, thank you. So that's one thing we just learned. If you bend over without bending your knees, be able to touch your toes, depending on how close you can get, can give you a little idea of your measurement of stress.
A little idea of your measurement of stress, both muscular and neurological.
Oh, well, that's very good. That's it's been worth having you here already. Just learned that and didn't have to pay. Give us another example, because you just mentioned also that if you squeeze the shoulders and down it, yes, how about that?
Yes, the trapezius muscle is notoriously one of the stress accumulating muscles in the body. And that's as simple as pushing on the top of the shoulder, and if it gives you some type of pain or radiating pain, that's pretty self-evident. Another place where people accumulate a lot of stress, which they're not aware of, is in the jaw.
Oh, really?
There's a little tiny muscle you have the masseters, and then a little tiny muscle inside the mouth called the pterygoid.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a stiff jaw, and you even get to the point where you're grinding your teeth at night when you sleep, which is called bruxism. So a stiff jaw and a clicking in the jaw and those types of situations, another stress indicator. Another one is frontal headache, which is commonly called in old school medicine, it's called tension headache. So when people start getting frontal headaches at the front of the head, they want to take an aspirin or a Tylenol. They have reached a stage of accumulative stress.
And so those are some signs and so on. Now, if a person is listening and they have maybe on occasions or even currently one or more of those signs or symptoms, these are things that you can treat, right?
Yes, of course. Very easily. It's a prominent sign that if you haven't had a medical checkup in some time, it might be a good idea to get your blood pressure taken, get your sugar level checked, your cholesterol, these kinds of things, because if the stress is prolonged more than 6 months or 1 year, that will start to reflect in values in physical signs that the body is reaching a stage of breakdown.
And is exercise one of the recommendations to get the muscles and so on relaxed and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Exposure to sunshine, fresh air, drinking more water, simple measures, taking a walk, parking your car away from your place of business and having a little nice walk in the morning, to and fro, back and forth from a sedentary job or sitting at a desk for too long of a time.
How much is your philosophy of life? How much does that have to do with it? And when I say philosophy of life, the way you see things, the way you think about it and stuff like that. How much of that has?
Well, in today's world, the glass can be half full or half empty.
Right.
And both sides of the glass still have the stress. So the one that has the half empty glass probably has more stress than the one that sees that the glass is half full. Because the person with the glass half full, when you give them some suggestions for corrective measures, they probably will do it. Whereas the one with the glass that's half empty will probably be a bit resistant or get distracted from doing normal recommendations. We would say, like, drink 5 or 6 glasses of water a day, take a multivitamin tablet, drink some herbal tea to relax, maybe get off the coffee you're drinking every day, maybe reduce your alcohol intake, change your diet, start eating more fruits and vegetables, those sorts of normal things.
Put simply, a positive attitude can help?
Very much so.
Okay, Chris, you wanted to jump in here. We want to hear from you. You know, Chris and Akeisha a lot. You know why? Because you're pretty young, and your peers who hear you, they can relate to what you say, you know, much more. So they not only in your own experiences, but also walking along, you know, in here, what certain things that you have learned and picked up, and you perhaps will be surprised to know that coming from you, it can make a difference, because when you for instance, if you were to say to one of your peers, well, I had a situation, a time when I couldn't bend over and touch my toes easily, and they were thinking, but I thought that was for old people who couldn't do that. But you know, so we would like to hear from you more, what you've learned, some of your experiences.
Well, as Doc was saying, I mean, a positive mindset is where it really starts. I mean, if you find that you're stressed out, and we've had patients that come and we recommend certain things to them, as Doc said, and a week later they come back in looking like a brand new person. Basically, from having that positive mindset, having that, okay, he told me to do this, he said it's gonna work, and I believe it's gonna work, and they go out, they drink their water, they start eating their fruits, they put down the bread, which is one of the main problems right now. They put down the bread, they start eating more fruits, as I said, and they take the herbal teas and they stick into their regimen, and they see the improvement within a week.
And what about you, Akeisha? What experiences have you had? So, you know, certain things that you have noticed, even with younger folks.
What I have noticed is that there is a good chance, about 95% of our body have cellular contamination. We intake things that the body cannot digest, and it doesn't add to building the cell nor our health, and that causes a debris around the cell, and it doesn't remove. Make it worse, we're eating a lot of processed foods that is not good. Then the body starts to produce a type of bacteria which is bad, and here we go, we are constantly eating the processed foods. Then here comes an overgrowth of bacteria, parasites, yeast, fungus in the stomach, and then it spills over into the blood, which I mentioned before. That is where we see them under the microscopy. I find that to be very amazing to see these things, but we're not supposed to see them, because if we see them, that means that you need to detox. And those micro parasites that I mentioned, it causes a lot of problems. Persons are coming in with constipation, belly aches, skin problems, and that all stems from what we eat, the hygiene of things, and just sometimes regular day-to-day stress of life.
And that affects young people as well, right?
Yes.
The diet, though, you find that as a society, we're not very conscious of that in terms of what we eat.
No, they're not very conscious of it. The grocery store has made these a variety of foods so easily accessible, and has been around for so long now. It seems like second nature that when you eat bread, you don't eat bread. You eat bread with toast and jam, or you eat bread with peanut butter and jelly, or you eat bread with, this whole ambiance of Western culture has made this extreme variety of different foods seem like a natural thing, when in fact it's only been with civilization for the last 50 to 100 years. And it's not natural.
A lot of the stuff we eat, though, for health-wise, are not necessary, right? What I'm getting at is, once you eat the basic protein and necessary stuff and so on, a lot of the fancy stuff don't add much value. I think Akeisha was making that point earlier, correct?
That's correct. Yes. There's a lot of unneeded or unwanted things in foods. We all know about preservatives and food colorings and things like that, but one of the really undiscovered, untalked about things is, for example, mycotoxins, which are fungal poisons, which gets into the grain very easily, gets processed with food and flour and bread, and these are extremely very small quantities of very insidious compounds. It's a growing field in medicine now, where they're believing that one of the main triggers of cancer, for example, is the lifelong accumulation of these mycotoxins getting into the cellular system and disrupting DNA and causing cancer. So there's just a lot of poisons in the environment, and the fact of the matter is, the simpler the diet, the cleaner it is, the healthier it is.
Chris, you earlier were mentioning something about drawing blood and maybe doing the analysis and stuff like that, and then so you do that, you draw some blood and then do some analysis, and then what are you looking for when you do that?
Well, basically, we take three small sample drops, and put it on a slide, look at it under the microscope, and we are looking for everything in the blood. Because just by looking at your blood under the microscope, we are seeing the parasites, we are seeing bacteria, we are seeing viruses, we are seeing if your cells are healthy. We are seeing if your cell is healthy in, we are seeing if your cells are deficient in vitamin B. We are looking for worms, because in a culture where we tend to eat a lot of pork, we find that we see a lot of worms in your blood, actual small worms. Now, in a case like that, when we see worms, when we see a large number of parasites, then we will prescribe some herbs that will actually clean those from your blood through herbal teas, and also we have some natural tablets that can also get those out as well.
And when you do that analysis, you obviously match it to what the norm should be.
Yes.
And you said, for instance, when a person, you can tell if they're deficient in, let's say, vitamin B. Okay, what would that suggest? If a person is deficient in vitamin B, what symptoms, if any, they may be having?
Well, if they're feeling fatigued, after maybe just a half a day of doing work, they don't sleep as well, they're having insomnia even though they're feeling fatigued, and then this is also linked to the stomach. So if you're not passing regularly, if you're not getting up every day and passing, then we know that, okay, that something is definitely wrong in that area.
Also, you can see it in maybe your nerve endings.
Yes. So also we have a B shot at the Jade Medical Center that you can take, and the doc has also come up with this amazing B17. There's a B17 capsule, yeah, that you can take, and it's gonna have you feeling like Superman.
Okay. And what other doc? What other deficiency in vitamin we can have, and what symptom might it reveal itself in?
Well, in natural medicine, we teach a basic philosophy: A, B, C, D, and E. So, in vitamin A, the minimum daily requirement is 5,000 units for an adult. And if you look at just the color of the food that most people eat, which the color that most people eat is obviously white bread, white rice, white this, white that, they're deficient in vitamin A until proven otherwise, because they're not getting enough grains, they're not getting enough fruit, they're not getting enough vegetables of different varieties of colors, which confers carotenoids or provitamin A to the system. In terms of B vitamins, we have a whole group of B vitamins called heat liable, which means they're destroyed by cooking. So these are the very common B vitamin deficiencies most people in general will have. There's scarcely anyone that walks in the door that's got symptoms that are not part of the B vitamin deficiencies, whether their cholesterol is high, whether they're sleepless, whether they have nerve pain, whether they have whatever the complaint is. There's always a B vitamin deficiency at suspicion. We can go on with vitamin C. Nobody gets enough vitamin C. That's been genetically proven. It's well understood. There's books been written about it. And of course, vitamin C is also heat liable. It's also room temperature liable. It can oxidize easy in food. And we do not have the genetic capacity to make vitamin C in our own livers like most animals do. So genetically, we are deficient. We're born deficient in vitamin C. And then vitamin D, that's the sunshine vitamin. Most people don't get enough vitamin D. That determines their sleep patterns, that determines their blood pressure. Anything to do with calcium in the body, it just goes on and on. And vitamin E, that's another vitamin that's heat liable, gets cooked up in food, gets cooked up when you warm something or leave it out for a long time, and there you have it. So basically A, B, C, D, and E, everybody walks in the door has got some deficiency somewhere in that group.
When a person does a normal, as you had mentioned, a normal checkup, some persons do it at least once per year.
Yes.
And they do basically blood work. That's what people say. You're doing some blood work. You're checking for your cholesterol and stuff like that.
Yes.
Is it necessary for one to go to the doctor, for instance, and check the vitamin levels, or that will naturally come out when you do quote-unquote blood work?
Well, there's direct and there's indirect. I mean, obviously, if somebody has anemia, you know they're either going to be deficient in iron or they're going to be deficient in B12 or folic acid. That's pretty obvious to any doctor. Of late, in the last 10 years, doctors are now taking vitamin D levels in blood as a part of a normal workup, and it's been something overlooked in medicine for nearly 50 years. It's very evident in the general population of the world today. Most everyone is deficient in vitamin D, period. And It doesn't even require until proven otherwise, because vitamin D does so many physiologic functions in the body. It's just quite evident. So there's direct, which means you actually look for markers in the blood, or there's indirect, just by obvious things that are related to sugar metabolism, to cholesterol, to uric acid, and to the normal things you look up in a blood workup.
As we age, the body needs extra help with the vitamins, hence sometimes persons are told to take some supplements.
Yes. Well, I can basically, haven't been here on Nevis for so long and have a very large population of patients. I've seen for a fact that people who take a multivitamin tablet over the years generally will have less health complaints as they get older. It's just a general thing that I've watched. I'm sure you've seen it too, Agisha, that when they say they take a multivitamin tablet, they generally have better sugar profiles, they have less high blood pressure, their weight is better, they sleep better. There's just a general profile of what we see in that, because, you know, in today's modern world with container shipping and foods and processing and long distances, it's better to take a multivitamin tablet than not, in my personal opinion.
Akisha, you wanted to add something?
No, I was just agreeing with Doc. But also the importance of iodine.
Yes.
Many persons are iodine deficient.
Globally, pandemic iodine deficiency, without question, it does. Iodine is sort of like the vitamin C. It's a trace mineral, for sure. The minimum daily requirement is in micrograms, where in our school we say really it's in milligrams, because the stress factors of today, including radiation in the environment, the profile in your health is much better if you take a supplemental iodine than if you don't.
Now, if persons, this is the part that perhaps going to take a little debate. Not everybody is sold on natural medicines. If you were to make a case to persuade someone that, let's say, one of the ailments we just mentioned in terms of they being unable to sleep well, and sometimes they have traditional medicines for those, and you recommend different type. What case would you make? How would you persuade a person that if you're not sleeping well, this will help?
Well, if they're taking a medication to get to sleep, you would naturally think something's wrong, because all humans have to sleep. So if you're unable to get to sleep, something right from the get-go is wrong, and that's unnatural. Now, if they're taking a medication to force them to sleep because of something that has severely affected them or is affecting them, believe it or not, as a natural medicine doctor, I don't have issues with medications. They are sometimes required. I'm perfectly acceptable with that. But I would warn the patient that, the continued use of this is either going to lead to addiction or it's going to lead to breakdown at some point, because it is an unnatural medication, which means the liver and the kidneys are going to have to metabolize it, and there will be a buildup, there will be side effects, and that's on the label when you buy the medicine. So that would be my argument, that wouldn't you like to find something simpler, like a cup of chamomile tea or a little melatonin would actually help to get you to sleep so that you don't have the untoward side effects. But in the meantime, if it's affecting you severely and you have to sleep because of job stress or what have you, maybe we can find a way for you to take less so that you don't become addicted, and assist you for weaning yourself off of it, because even I'm sure your medical doctor would agree this is something you can't take the rest of your life.
It is safe to say that the lack of sleep, the stress is a highly contributory factor.
Yes, there will be neurological, then ultimately endocrine imbalances from lack of sleep.
Okay, so what else we got? What are some of the things that people might be experiencing which you would suggest that they can come and see you?
Well, I've been here for 35 years, and I think just about everything's walked in my door. So it's a wide variety of complaints, and I'll never proclaim I can fix everything. That would be absolutely stupid. But people come in for a lot of different types of conditions.
Okay, well, why don't we name some? Because, for instance, a person might be listening and they might be experiencing something which they probably didn't know. For instance, you heard me, open confession is good for the soul. You heard me at the beginning say that I'd learned that one way I'm going to test my stress level, I'm going to bend over and touch my toes and see what's going on there, for instance, right? Yes. So a person might be experiencing something. You have a lot of experience. A lot of persons have walked in your office and stuff like that. So give us some examples of what things people might be experiencing, maybe getting overstressed over it, when a simple visit to you can explain what it is, and it can be a quick fix.
Yes, well, there's tremor, there's headache, there's tachycardia, there's anxiety or feeling like you're stopping breathing, or your heart stops in your chest. Those are quite common complaints. Subtle backache that starts out as a discomfort and then in time becomes quite painful because the disc in the spine starts shrinking. Or another common complaint is a lot of belly aches, pains in the abdomen that are kind of unexplained. I get that all the time from people. They have a twitch here, or they think it's gas, or there's some type of pain located in their abdomen. They've been to their doctor. They've had an ultrasound. Nobody can find anything. Well, we'll find it. We know probably exactly what it is. Once we take the symptomatology, we look in the blood, and we can determine it's in the bowels. Mm-hmm. Also heartburn, reflux esophagitis, that's very common these days. Dripping sinus, stuffy nose, coughing and sneezing with dust. All of these common allergens, that's very common to see. Food allergies, people that eat certain things gets them upset. They don't know, because it's a delayed allergy, the symptoms don't arise for many hours, maybe not even until the next day, that they have some discomfort in their abdomen, or they get headache, or these types of complaints.
Do you find there's a high incidence in the population of sinus issues where, for instance, in my case, I can tell when the Saharan dust is plentiful without reading the weather?
Yes, it's a very common complaint, and believe it or not, the sinus issues, if you've reached the point to where you're allergic to the air that you breathe, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's a dysbacteria going on in the intestines that has been there for some time, weakening the immune system to the point that now the air is affecting you, just not the foods that you're eating.
So do we find a lot of incidences of that, where people in the population have sinus issues?
Yes.
And some folks will tell you, for instance, when they're cutting the grass, they have issues. So things like that, people can come and see you about?
Yes. I get it all the time.
Okay, so we getting towards, got a few more minutes. So Chris, you'd like to add anything at this point?
Also, the food we eat in terms of allergens, as Doc mentioned earlier. Sometimes we have patients that walks in, they're suffering, especially the ladies. We find a lot of ladies with problems with their ovaries. They're not menstruating every month. They have trouble. It's either too light or it's too heavy. And sometimes it's the food that they're eating. Sometimes it's the chicken. When we run the allergy test, it's just simple as stop eating chicken and a clean out, and they're all better.
Keisha, you would like to, any final thoughts?
I would like everyone to come and get a checkup at the Jade Clinic. It is a very personal setting. It's comfortable, and one of the key components is that we don't have any big needles when we draw the blood. It's just a pick of blood from your finger where we get to know the blood glucose, cholesterol, hemoglobin, uric acid, and so forth. Also, I think many persons would appreciate seeing what is in the blood. They can see the microparasite actually wiggling and see the normal, healthy way in which the red blood cell is supposed to shape. I think they can appreciate that because it's a coming to realization moment. You know, there's a saying, well, once I see something like that, I want to change the way I go about my day-to-day, my lifestyle, because many of us are getting too sick. We're getting cancers. People are getting heart attacks. And at Jade, we try to find what the problem is. We give you things to treat it, and then you can come back up for a follow-up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We help you to change your diet. There's so many things that we offer in a place of peace, and where we believe in God, because God heals all things. And we pray for you. It's a real personalized, comfortable setting where I really encourage others to come and visit. You would definitely not believe what you see, but then because of what you see, you will believe.
Very well said.
Very well said. Maybe I could use that for the quotation of the day tomorrow. Okay, Doc, your final words?
Well, we have added blood microscopy to the clinic some years ago, and it's probably the most underrated yet most fascinating aspect of medicine today is this issue of parasites. And when we say parasites, we don't mean just worms in the belly. There's a whole spectrum of microparasites, which includes bacteria, because that too is a parasite. That's rumbling and rolling around everybody's body because it's part of nature. I mean, it's every animal in the kingdom is parasitized. There's books on this whole subject in biology. It's just it hasn't transferred itself to the medical field, unfortunately, of any sort. But we have found it's been dramatically helpful for people to see their own blood, their red blood cells, their white blood cells, and anything in between, because, you know, blood medicine teaches the blood should be sterile. Well, that's an ideal concept, but in living fact, it just never happens. There is no blood that's actually sterile. We're swimming in bacteria and parasites all the time, and when the pathogenic ones become chronic, it dramatically affects the health.
We thank you very much. We here have learned something. Let's hope the folks in the audience learn something. And then, you know, I think I'm going to say like Akeisha. I know we got results. Start to get results, right? Thank you again. We'll hope to see you soon. And we'll be getting into our second segment right after this.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, and more only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Tonight, as promised, Dr. McWilliams and his team, they were here a couple of weeks ago. We encouraged and invited them back, and you asked, so they are here once more. Dr. Williams, good evening. It's good to have you back.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. It's good to be here.
And you have the rest of your team who was with you last time. Akeisha, good evening.
Good evening.
And Christopher, Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Herbert. Thanks for having us back again.
Okay, good. So we spoke basically on natural medicines last time, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and Dr. Williams, you are attached to Jade.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit more about it, because I thought that everybody knew, and in the post discussions, some folks didn't know, and a lot of folks said they got to check it out and all that. So take a few moments, if you will, and tell us about Jade.
Well, Jade began 30-some years ago. I've been on the island 35, and of course I'm a citizen now, and started practicing natural medicine about 25 years ago. We opened Jade as to the public, and we've been treating people with naturopathic medicine ever since. The numbers of which in my files I think exceed over 7,000 patients that have gone into the clinic down through the years. And we have evolved, we've grown, and we pretty much are a primary care facility for people that have various complaints, as well as doing physicals and checkups. We have quite a few patients that come for that annually and semi-annually. So it's a round of different things, and we specialize, of course, in natural medicine and natural medicine care.
You have a big staff or small staff? Who comprise the people who work there?
We have a sizable staff. We have Sylvia, of course, that manages the front office for us, and I have 2 nurses that come on duty to do the physical checkups of taking the weight, the blood pressure, the blood glucose, the cholesterol, etc. And then we have myself, and we have Akeisha here assisting me with the herbal prescriptions and the microscope, as well as Christopher Broadbelt, who also is working with us now on Saturdays, taking and helping with the microscopy and the various matters around that. So it's a good-sized staff, and I have, of course, students all around the world that visit on a pretty regular basis that are in the clinic, and they come and go throughout the year as well. So it's an active place. We're open Wednesdays and Saturdays, and our number is 469-9564.
Okay, and the natural medicines that you do, we're going to assume that we're talking to an audience that is very basic and would like to learn stuff from scratch, right? Mm-hmm. So the medicines that you do, the basic for the genesis is where plants, synthetic stuff.
Yes. I basically use a combination of vitamins, because nutritional deficiencies today with the food supply are very common, and those we can also say that in many cases are the precipitants of disorders people have. And I do specialize in herbal medicine. That is my primary core treatment, is using herbs. And I've been using herbs for over 30 years, and I've gotten quite good at it, wouldn't you say, Akeisha?
Yes, I agree. Best teacher ever.
Okay. So I guess Akeisha wanted to make a case, make a point with that. Maybe I will agree. Let's see what happens at the end. Now, what I also wanted to know, do you use any plants that's on island?
Yes.
Okay. You care to give us an idea of some of the plants you may use?
Well, we use neem, we use dandelion, vervain, various plants like that we use, and I import a lot of plants too. It's broad spectrum. I have 100 different plants that I have in my pharmacy. Mm-hmm. And I've been trained both in Chinese medicine as well as in, we would call it basically European monastic style medicine, where we learn about the herbs, and of course a lot of the European herbs were brought there from the Caribbean and from the Caribbean, so they're pretty ubiquitous in that sense. So the thing with the plants is to get plants that are either picked fresh or picked properly so that they are stabilized, they're dried properly in the right time of year, and have the best potency and also the best shelf life. So it's a combination of factors determining the plants that we stock. And then it's I don't do cookbook formulas for patients. I basically prescribe to fit the symptoms of the individual based upon a way that I was trained many years ago of fitting the prescription towards the individual, not towards a, quote, disease per se, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. What is one of the ailments, for instance, or more than one, if you will, that you treat? For instance, some person or persons may be out there and have a particular, well, we probably can get to vitamin deficiency again, because that was a big interest when we discussed it the last time. But say someone is listening and they may not want to call. And by the way, if you like to call, we only have, like I said, this is half of the program. We'll get into something else next. But if you would like to ask a question or make a comment, you're free to call. 469-1616 or 1700. So what are some of the ailments that you deal with?
Oh, it's basically any condition that walks in the door. So just to give you for an example, take so-called migraine or migrainous type symptoms of a patient. There are two herbs that are my go-to herbs on that condition, wood betony and what's called balm or balmony. In combination, I have learned, this is not taught to me in any book, it's something I've learned myself, is pretty broad spectrum to quell the migraine, and in many cases the patient will confess that when they come back to the clinic a week or two later, they've had maybe one or no attacks at all since they started drinking the tea. However, I would never trust a prescription on just one or two basic herbs for a condition, because usually with migraine there is a liver deficiency or there is a kidney insufficiency. The patient doesn't drink enough water, or they have a digestive ailment that exacerbates or perpetuates the disorder of the throbbing headache that precipitates during the so-called migraine crisis. So I blend the formula around the other constellation of factors that the patient has to make sure that when they start to drink the tea, they absolutely get a result. That's how I work. And the same could be said for basically anything that walks in, whether it's a neurogenic pain, or whether it's a backache, or whether it's a simple headache, or whether it's a urinary tract infection, or whether it's reflux esophagitis and digestive complaints, or constipation. We start with the chief complaint. We prescribe for that, but then we look in the background to say what's causing this. Why did it get to this level, and why is the body overreacting to such a point that now the patient's in pain and is looking for relief?
The back pain, that's interesting. I'm trying to mention a number of things that I would hear people commonly complain about. And you had mentioned migraine.
Yes.
Is it a fact that it's seemingly mostly associated with women? Is it a fact, or a fact?
It's a higher percentage, but it's not exclusively limited to women.
Why you think it's a high percentage? Is there something in the composition of the bodies, men and women?
Well, it's if we would want to narrow it down to anything, we could say it probably has to do with estrogen.
Oh, okay.
And estrogen dominance.
Okay. Because as I said, if it been commonly complained of, it seems to be more associated with
females, yes.
Females, yeah. Okay, so let's now include the others two staffers here. Keisha, you, Doc says that, help a lot with the herbal medicines, correct?
Yes, yes, you're correct.
Okay, well, you want to tell us a little bit more of that, about that? And when we were here last time, we had spoken about taking a sample of blood and being able to ascertain a lot of stuff from that. Okay, so maybe we can, expand on that a little.
Okay. Regarding the herbs used for the formula to help treat a person, as Doc mentioned, he would prescribe certain herbs. Sometimes it's 2, 4, or 6 depending on your situation, and I would use about a teaspoon of that herb, put it in the bag, so that when persons use them, they okay, before that, the teas normally would run from 3 to 6 to 8, depending on when you have to come back to the clinic or if the doc is off of island. And what persons don't understand is they see an herb and they want to use 6, 7, 8, 10 leaves. No, there is a certain amount to be used because there's something called overdoing, and you can definitely overdo on the herbs when you drink it as tea. So it's a teaspoon of the selected herbs that he would mention to me, and then they're in a tea bag form and they have instructions. There's a label and everything, the herbs that are being used to help to treat you on the back of the bag, and the instructions are in front as to how many water is needed and how many times of day you need to take it.
Christopher?
Well, basically, piggybacking off of what Akisha is saying, I mainly deal with the microscope. So I am the one that you will come to have a look at your blood. And in doing that, then we can tell that, okay, we'll have to add probably an additional 2 herbs because we see a lot of parasites in your blood, or we see some bacteria, or maybe we see some viruses in your blood. So we'll have to add those herbs to help clean them out, as we say.
And if we're seeing too much of the microparasites, we will prescribe a parasitical tablet. So that's what we do.
Well, what has been your experience in terms of having persons in the community, and I gather you serve people off island as well?
Mm-hmm.
People do come?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So folks are welcome if they're listening overseas, and how can they, maybe get in contact with you? And
869-469-9564. They can call and make an appointment or inquire, or they can send me an email at Panam, Panamint, Panamint at sisterisles.kn.
Okay, can we talk a little bit more now about the deficiencies in terms of the vitamins, the various vitamins, because I don't know whether or not normally when we would go to a doctor, I don't know if the normal checkup that you do whether that will automatically reveal whether you're magnesium deficient, vitamin B, etc., etc. Because what I learned, one of the things I learned from our discussion when you were here the last time, is how significant and it is that if you are aware, you find out that you're deficient in certain vitamins, how that situation, were you to get that corrected, how much healthier you can be. So let's talk a little bit about the symptoms you may have when you're deficient in certain vitamins.
Well, there's obvious symptoms. For example, it's come to light finally in the medical profession of the ubiquity of vitamin D deficiency in the population. Generally speaking, because of the dietary and the working indoors and the lack of exposure to sunlight, most patients are mildly to drastically deficient in vitamin D. And that would affect the immunity, that would affect the absorption of calcium, for example, that would, in which case there are so many metabolic reactions in the body that are driven by calcium that the symptoms are too numerous to even mention. But we could say that what goes hand in hand for sure with vitamin D deficiency is not only a reduced immunity, common colds, common flu, those types of symptoms, but also high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a cardinal sign of vitamin D deficiency from my experience, to the effect that if you don't prescribe extra amounts of vitamin D, no matter what herb you prescribe for the high blood pressure, it generally will only mildly come down on the use of just herbal medicine alone.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's another revelation for me.
It was for me too.
What about, let's say, deficient in magnesium?
Magnesium, we have a saying, magnesium everything. There's over 300 enzyme systems in the body that are driven by magnesium, and equally for zinc, that it's just too numerous to account for. And of course, magnesium deficiency would go right along with any condition that has pain. Generally, when you have pain, you have magnesium deficiency. Generally, when you have high blood pressure, you have magnesium deficiency. Generally, when you have cramps in the muscles, or aching back, or stiff shoulders, or tension anywhere in the body, we think of magnesium deficiencies. However, the problem with magnesium is simply taking a tablet to correct it is not going to get you immediate results. So therefore, people would pick up a magnesium tablet. Boy, I think if I take this, my blood pressure will start coming down. It doesn't, because it takes weeks, if not months, to build those magnesium reserves back up in the body for it to work effectively. So when you take these kinds of minerals for conditions, in my experience, the immediate results of relief are generally gradual and are not dramatic enough for a patient to notice that it's working. Say the first 5, 10, 30 days that the product is being taken.
So, am I correct to conclude that a visit to you can also reveal whether you're deficient in magnesium?
Yes, there are many ways to determine deficiencies in the body. If you're taking minerals, for example, if you want absolute understanding of mineral deficiencies, well, hair analysis is one such way of doing that. Of course, being that we live on an island, that's an expensive route because the hair sample has to be taken, It has to be mailed to a laboratory. You have to wait a couple of weeks to get the results. Cost $200 or $300, et cetera, et cetera. A secondary way of doing it is by more or less analyzing the symptoms. You can pretty much guesstimate where the deficiency are. And the third factor is, since there is absorption rates in the intestines of these minerals and the body is pretty self-regulatory, it's kind of hard to overdose magnesium or calcium as taking as a supplement. So there's not too much worried about taking the supplement because the body has self-adaptive and self-regulatory mechanisms for that. So you give it anyway, just on the assumption that the deficiency is there.
Am I detecting that you're saying that normally it's not a normal routine, because you seem to suggest that test, the results of it, you got to send it overseas or something?
Well, there's other methods too. For example, calcium and magnesium both. And usually when there's calcium deficiencies, there's some form of magnesium deficiencies. And these are what we call alkalizing macrominerals. They stabilize the body, and that is determined easily by the pH. So if we look at the pH of urine, for example, and we see that it's very acid in the individual, I can almost guarantee they're deficient in either calcium, magnesium, or both. So supplementation will be helpful. If the patient is having sleepless nights, I can virtually guarantee you have a magnesium deficiency. How much of a deficiency I can't directly say, but it's deficient enough to be able to warrant wanting to take a mineral supplement to alleviate the condition. And then we can look at the urine pH as it tends to alkalize back to normal to get an idea that the reserves in the body are building back up. Patient's feeling better, the patient's sleeping better. Another very direct route with magnesium deficiency, if it's affecting the heart, there will be changes on the EKG. And we can give the mineral supplement, and I can directly look at the EKG and see the pattern changing on the QRS TEV and repolarization wave, that once it stabilizes back and the palpitations disappear, the blood pressure's coming down, the EKG's looking more normal, I know the calcium reserves are building back up in the body. So we do have really a multiple ways of looking at deficiencies.
Okay, just let me take this call. Okay, caller, please call back. I'm sorry for that. Please be patient with us. Okay, so Akeisha, you wanted to get in on something? Well, let me just ask Doc. It appears then that because in the tracing and analyzing why black people, so many black people have high blood pressure, because some says diet and so on, but in listening now, you have been mentioning that's deficiency in certain things, and you link it also to the blood pressure. The caller maybe is back. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good evening.
Yes, could you go ahead, please? Hello? Hello? You're on the air, could you go ahead? Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, yes, go ahead, please. Okay, caller, please call back. I think I have identified why we had that technical glitch, so please call back. Yes, Doc. Yeah. Go ahead. Anyone can jump in.
Yes, supplements are very, very important So Doc mentioned about vitamin D, magnesium, zinc. Also, iodine is very, very important. We do not consume enough iodine, and Doc have made a formula, a fulvic acid fulvidine formula that you can purchase at the clinic that has in iodine as well, and also potassium and so forth. Also, speaking about what you eat, what you consume, bladderwrack as well has some good levels of iodine, kelp, but we don't consume these things. So I want persons to understand the importance of consuming iodine. In food, we don't get enough, hardly, probably 1%, if none. So you can also do your research at home, or else you can come and Jaden pick up the bottle of fulvidine that has iodine, as I mentioned, and fulvic acid, potassium, or you can take bladderwrack, you can take kelp in supplement tablets and so forth.
What are some of the foods though that gives you supply of iodine?
Food, not so much. What I've realized, as I mentioned before, bladderwrack is in the sea, so it's almost like a seaweed,
Sea vegetable.
a sea vegetable, you can say. So that's where iodine is mostly consumed from, or you can get it from. But in terms of the food like meat or potato, it's hardly to none.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Does the body naturally produce any of it?
No.
But it uses it?
Has to have it. Has to have it.
Really?
Iodine deficiency is today easily typified as being pandemic. There's deficiencies in the soils. The only culture in the world where iodine deficiency is not prevalent to a large degree is Japan, because of the way they favor seafood in their diet, and they eat regular quantities of kelp and different seaweeds in their diet. And equally, it's also a population typically that has very low incidence of breast cancer. So the breast tissue has concentrations of iodine in it, so that we can see these metabolic trends. So from that, it's developed a reputation that regular taking of iodine is a cancer preventative, without question.
And so how do you get it then? Did I gather that it's also available in seafood? Fish, maybe?
Fish,
No.
and in small amounts, depending upon your digestive capacity, because when it's in fish, it's bound to protein in the fish, so you have to have sufficient hydrochloric acid in your stomach to separate it digestively to absorb it. So there's various factors that do that, and you have to take it for a very long time. So Webbo, I'll give you an example of things that have been learned in the last 20 years in the world of alternative medicine. There was a group of doctors in the United States that took a group of obese patients and gave them several thousand percentiles excess of iodine orally in a tablet form, and monitored their urine excretion over a period of 6 months. And they found that for the first 3 months of overweight people taking extremely large doses of iodine, they did not secrete any iodine whatsoever, and they assumed that the iodine was being taken up by tissues in those areas, particularly the ovaries and the testicles, the breast tissue, and the brain, were soaking up this mineral because there was just no excretion whatsoever in the urine. And now we've learned from more evidence scientifically from autopsy and tissue samples taken on people that the body stores a lot more iodine than was ever thought in medicine. It's not just reserved by the thyroid. It's a mineral that is in very small amounts, pretty much ubiquitously stored in all tissues of the body, and has a dynamic effect on the metabolic rate of individuals.
Why do people, a large number of people, seemingly are iron deficient?
Iron deficiency has a lot to do with gastric efficiency. Equally, when we have and we see iron deficiency, we usually also see hydrochloric acid deficiency, which the chief complaint today, they simply call it reflux esophagitis, or the old school term was dyspepsia. And the medical profession, we believe, wrongly prescribes what's called protein pump inhibitors, which shuts down the gastric acid efficiency, which generally makes the condition worse rather than better. So we do the opposite. We stimulate the body to produce more hydrochloric acid, of which herbs help to do, and the iron deficiency will go away, as well anemia as well.
Yes, Chris, anything you would like to add?
In terms of the magnesium deficiency and the supplements, most people reach out to me for different supplements, and most times before I would recommend a supplement per se, I would ask them about their gut. I would ask them how often they go to the bathroom, how often they move their bowels, because sometimes instead of just loading your body with these supplements, you need a clean out first. You need a clean out so you can add back the healthy gut microbiome, so you can build back up most of these vitamins and minerals that your body needs. So that's something that I hear often enough so that I can talk to it now.
Is it? Yes.
Yes, I totally agree with Chris. Because of how we're eating now, we consume a lot of muck in the gut. And I guess we're just waiting until we get some sort of severe pain
Sign.
or some sort of sign to realize, okay, I'm going to change my diet. But what persons don't understand that, yes, the body is taking in the poor choices that you decide to eat, but it's not taking in well because you're not taking in any nutrients whatsoever. And if we take a detox, start to get the bowels to move again, you would feel a lot better with certain pains, because everything starts in the gut. And eating organic food is very, very important. Most of the fruits that are imported, I don't know if you guys realize, but it has a 4-digit mark on them, and those are sprayed with chemicals. And once we start to eat those fruits and vegetables, these pesticides and so forth that they are being sprayed with, our body now have a lot of work to do, because it's not normal. It's not something that is supposed to be inside of the gut. So I would suggest persons to try to source organic foods and vegetables, because in the end, those fruits and vegetables that you're taking from the stores, they're breaking down the good bacteria that is inside of you, and you need those good bacteria to do their job. And once you start to eat organic and understand the importance of it, then everything else runs a bit smoother in terms of the immune system. The teas work much better, the supplements works much better and faster, and you'd get an overall great feeling once you understand the importance of organic food, the importance of getting nutrients in your body, the importance of supplement, and also consuming teas.
What would be an example of, to use the term that you use, taking in muck? You know, what's an example of folks who have particular diets? They eat what?
White bread.
Oh, okay.
Fries. Who
Greasy
doesn't
food,
love
pork.
Yes, yes. Commonly, persons don't understand this, but rice, if you're consuming in large amount, you must understand that rice, if you left it overnight, it starts to get very sticky, and that is what is being put inside your body. So do that experiment tonight, leave it for about 2 days or so, and then when you go back to it, you'll realize how sticky, and the smell of it is so horrible. Just imagine you eating this big plate of food that has largely rice and just a little bit of vegetables. That's what is happening in your body. We're consuming muck, things that are not natural. Things that are natural are like breadfruit, sweet potato, and yam, dasheen, things like that the body can break down because they have in fiber as well. But once you're consuming the fried chicken, you are putting in, I use the term, you're boiling your chicken in oil, basically, when you're consuming large quantities of fried chicken, or just fried chicken in a whole. You're literally boiling your chicken in oil. Now you tell me, does that make any sense? And isn't that muck?
And then to add to that, Webbo, now imagine, as Akisha said, you eat this rice this afternoon, you go to bed tonight, you don't have a bowel movement. In the morning you wake up, you eat piece of bread and cheese, you don't have a bowel movement as yet. Then lunchtime you eat another set of rice. All of these foods, they don't have enough nutrients inside of them for the body to start to break down and use. So you start feeling weak, you start feeling sleepy, or fatigue, or what we will call niggeritis, ethnic fatigue. So you get this feeling at probably 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you just think that, oh, my belly is full. But your body is actually looking for nutrients that it's not finding. Not only that,
Chris, let me just take this and then we'll finish up on that point. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good show. To the doc, there is a vitamin B17 that was, well, I just learned about it. Could the doc expound on the importance of that?
Vitamin B17?
Yes.
Doc?
Vitamin B17 was initially called Laetrile, as a purified extract of the apricot pit called amygdalin. Amygdalin is the extract of the apricot pit. It was originally noticed with the Hunza culture in southern China, that they had very few diseases. They had very little arthritis in their community, and they didn't have any cancer to speak of. And there was a researcher called Dr. Krebs that started an experiment with treating cancer with it, and became quite well known quite rapidly, and was, we know now from the fact of the son of one of the doctors that worked with Dr. Krebs, that it was radically suppressed by the pharmaceutical company. People were put in prison, licenses were taken from various doctors, but fact of the matter is, it secretes a compound that has a cyanide component that selectively kills cancer cells. And it still works, and there's many doctors around the world still using it. And the short and simple of it is, if you eat apricot pits or you take the supplement of B17, your likelihood of getting cancer later in life is dramatically reduced.
And so that B17, you supply that as well?
Of late we do. I took 2 seminars on B17. I was actually very embarrassed. I consider myself really up on lots of things. And I met John Richardson, whose father, Dr. Richardson, was one of the clinical vanguards of this therapy. And there is a book available called Vitamin B17 Case Histories, which we have copies of at the Jade Center, and you can also get it online. But we have had interviews of people that were diagnosed by Dr. Richardson decades ago with cancer, and they're still alive and thriving, and they were given 6 months to live. It's a fabulous, intriguing story, and it convinced me to. I take B17 every day myself, without doubt, religiously. Just as I take a multivitamin, I take my B17. It's one of the great, we could call it one of the great bushes of the herbal world, is the apricot pit.
Chris, maybe we can continue where you had left off.
Yes, I left off at the consumption of the foods and what it basically does to the gut. So, as I was saying, when you consume these foods and you're not passing them out, then the foods tends to stay inside of the gut. What it does there, stays there, and it breaks the gut lining. That is when most of the trouble start, because then you get all these toxins that's in your gut starting to leak inside of your blood, and then this is what causes most of the sickness, so causes most of the parasites, causes most of the ailments is that we see walking the door at Jade. So that's why I said earlier that it's so important to refer to people to get a detox before you start actually taking your supplements, before you start putting back the minerals in your body. Clean out what's there first, and then you can start building back up your healthy gut microbiomes, and then add in the minerals and the vitamins that you need, because with healthy gut microbiomes, then the body and the gut will start to absorb these way faster.
Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good evening again. Is there a relationship between vitamin D deficiency in women and fertility? That's a question for the doctor.
Yeah, could you be much louder and clearer? I don't think we got it clearly.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that there's a vitamin D deficiency in women, how it relates to fertility.
Fertility?
In women, yeah.
Okay.
So the question was vitamin D, as in David?
That's yes.
Yes. Yes, we know now from a consensus of hundreds of different practitioners in the alternative field that we can take a blood sample and send it to a laboratory and get a vitamin D level analysis, and people always come back deficient to a mild or severe degree. So it's cheaper and simpler just to take the supplement for 30 days, for example, 5,000 international units, which is considered a high dose. But it takes that amount of vitamin to raise the blood level to any significant degree in a short period of time. Because if you take the minimum daily requirement of just 400 units it's going to be like watching grass grow to get a result. So I just get 5,000 right off the bat, and we see improvements in conditions turn around very quickly.
Okay, we are getting to that time, so can we get some final comments from each person? We are going to begin with Christopher, and then Akeisha, and we're going to finish up with the doc.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep it simple and, recommend to anybody that's, suffering from any simple discomfort to, do a detox or start intermediate fasting and give the gut the break that it might need, and then start adding probiotic or prebiotic to help to build back the healthy gut microbiomes.
Yes, I want to second that with what Chris said, and encourage persons to watch what they eat and understand the importance of nutrition, and also take a checkup, come to Jade and look under the microscope when we take a prick of blood, see what's going on in your blood, and start to treat your body with a bit more love and patience and so forth, because the body is patient with you, but I don't think you're patient with your body.
Well, I would like to say how proud I am of my two students here. They are speaking firsthand from a knowledge base of actually watching these things work on people and having objective ways of seeing their improvements with a natural health perspective and therapeutic plan from the standpoint of improvements in blood sugars and blood cholesterol, in vitality, in freedom of symptoms, and of course looking in the microscope and seeing that what medicine teaches, that the blood's sterile. That is a ridiculous concept. There's no such thing as sterile blood. The blood is thriving with microbes, and the sicker you are, the more you have. And the only way to get that in balance is by cleansing the body first and foremost. So the digestive tract, the efficiency, and what we eat has a dramatic influence on health. And then as that occurs over time, then these vitamin and mineral deficiencies start to take in, and depending upon the tissue system that's affected determines what needs to be given and how long and what dosages it needs to be given to get a result. And unfortunately, you can read about these things in books and you can apply them, but there's nothing that beats years of clinical experience and watching it happen and judging for yourself how and why these things work. And that's where I am in my life, and as I get in my elderly years, I have those years of experience of seeing things work and not work.
Okay, Doc, is always a pleasure to have you and your team, and I got to tell you also that we're, even with this session, we're getting some comments and people appreciating the content of what you're saying. And I think as a society we are health information deficient, so we will try, and once you're willing, to provide a diet of this information and see whether or not it won't help to improve us as a society in taking care of our health, right? And always remember, I will always remember that Akeisha warns us about putting muck, or how it go again?
Yes, the processed food then, the processed
No,
foods.
but walk with me, I prefer the other one. The muck, yes. Okay, so thank you all again, Christopher, Akeisha, Doc Williams, and why don't you tell us finally again how they can get in touch with you, where you're located, Jade, and all that.
Thank you, Webbo. We're basically the driveway across from the fire station at the airport. Just turn right at the sign, or left if you're coming from the other direction, and just drive up to the end. The clinic is right there at the end of the road, and the number is 469-9564, and I practice on Wednesdays and Saturdays, most days of the week, and my practice is getting busier thanks to your lovely program here, and
that's good.
the word is spreading, so we could be at a third day a week, maybe a Thursday or Tuesday, but generally Wednesdays and Saturdays I'm there, and I love what I do, and I do what I love, and informing the Nevis public I'm more than happy to do, and we'll always want to come back to your show, because it's always good for the people to get self-informed and self-aware, because at the end of the day, the best doctor you have is taking care of yourself.
Okay, Doc, we appreciate your service, and on those days that you are open now, Wednesdays and Saturdays, they can walk in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we open doors at 7:30, and we work till generally 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and just walk in and you will be received and taken care of.
Doc McWilliams, Akeisha Fergus, and Christopher. It's good to have you all, and I don't know, I think I might want to try the vitamin B17. The second segment will be in. The heavyweights will be in right after this.
To save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, earn more, only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
This program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock, following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On the Mark. Join Keith Scarborough at 8 o'clock on Thursday evening right here on Vaughan Radio for Government at Work, a place where you can spend all of your evenings right here on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse. Thank you all again for joining us. Your voice in the community, thought that get results. You all have a wonderful evening.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis. The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
And you were just listening to a rebroadcast of the Let's Talk program, Talk That Gets Results, which was first aired, 2 segments. The first was first aired on the 7th of October 2025. The second segment aired on the 28th of October 2025, and both featured Dr. McWilliams and his team from the Jade Clinic.